first item is to announce an executive session attended by Solicitor Manager and Supervisor. We had two, one with 8:10:15 and one with 8:19:15. Now's the time we'll take public comment on non-agenda items. Want to have a comment?
I have one, if I may. A constituent got in touch with me about a problem that he sees involving the road, Newtown Road near Wilson's Corner, where the road makes a bend there. There's a deep declivity in the earth, and it's filled with water. It's been standing water there for quite some time. As I understand it, part of the puddle belongs to the township, and part belongs to private owner. What I'd like to do, or recommend that we do, is to pump the water out, fill the hole with gravel, and so it won't refill. But as I understand it, in order to do that, we're going to have to get the consent of the neighboring landowner. So what I'm going to suggest, Jim, is you get in touch with that person and see if we can get permission to do
Okay.
that.
Francis Ellis?
I just had one comment. Martin Paint Paving did bottom section of Flowing Springs Road, and they really did a nice job. Have we ever used them before?
No.
They're really outstanding. Even all the neighbors commented how nice it is. So I just want to thank you for getting someone who really does something that's reputable. And I know that end of Flowing Springs Road gets an awful lot of traffic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Other comments? Sharon Davis.
Okay, I'm not a good public speaker, so I had to write down some notes. I just want to say that in these meetings, I think there's really good questions that are asked, and important questions, and questions that are interest to all of us. But I think a lot of times some of these questions could be better handled by emails or telephone calls. Some of the examples of what I felt were just irrelevant questions that do not affect us, or things like what kind of transmission did that truck have? What's that pile of black pipe out there for? Are there security cameras? How many? Where are they? That truck needed new springs. Was it because it was overloaded? How many tons of salt are left in the salt thing? And my all-time favorite question was, what was the $11 and something at Ludwig's Corner for the light bulbs? What kind of light bulbs are we using? I really wish the board would have probably the guts or the courage to have some kind of a policy to limit these things. I mean, honestly, when we come out to these meetings, my time matters. I mean, lives matters, my times matter. Is that somebody agreeing with me? Okay, you know what, right now, it's time.
Time's up.
It's time to pay our O&J taxes if you want to hit the discount. And, I don't have a problem with my township taxes. We get so much for our taxes. But O&J, for all the time and energy that's going into questions needless, what I think are unnecessary questions for the rest of us, I think that time and energy could be focused up at O&J if you really want to do us a favor. Now, next question. I want to point out that there are people that are not coming back to township meetings out of sheer frustration. They will not come, they will not sit through some of the silliness of the questions that we're being put to. And, is it possible to consider some kind of some way to limit these questions? I mean, I realize you're up against it. If you do much of anything, people will be crying corruption and lack of transparency and all of that. But if there's a way, hey, questions could be sent in and answered by emails or telephone calls. And I just want to say, as everyone's saying now, people's lives matter. Well, for me personally, my time matters. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Other comments?
Could I just comment on it?
Yep.
I don't know whether this is a 100% solution, but if we reversed it, and instead of starting off the meetings with public comment, if we put that at the end, then anybody that wants to could get up and leave.
Well, I think we were doing it that way, and didn't it prolong the meetings too much? I just think there's common sense with some of these questions. What kind of light bulbs are we using?
I understand.
Why? How many tons of stone were up there, and why, and whatever? There's questions that are not pertinent to the rest of us. There are good questions asked, and and I did want to say, which I had written in my notes, I applaud all of you gentlemen up there for what you do and what you try to do, and for how you're trying to preserve our township. I do applaud you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? Yeah, Jamie.
I would just add to that, that in the time it took to ask and get an answer to the question about how $11 was spent, we spent $50 on Steve sitting here listening and still comment on Steve. It's just the way it works. Listening to the question and waiting for it to be answered. And every time one of these questions is asked, the legal fees just go higher and higher. Again, there's no comment on Steve. It's just the way it is. That's what I've thought for years too. Just ask these, just send out an email to Jim or to somebody in advance or before or whenever, and save everybody some time and save us tens of thousands of dollars over the years in legal fees.
Other comments? Time to approve the minutes of the August 10, 2015 meeting. Any motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Manager's report, Jim?
Just a couple things to note. In terms of upcoming meetings, this Wednesday night is the regional planning meeting at Schuylkill Township Building at 7:30. The trash task force is scheduled to meet this coming Thursday here at 7. Please keep in touch with us because I'm not 100% sure that that's going to happen, but if it is, that meeting will be at 7 o'clock on Thursday. A week from Wednesday, the EAC holds its monthly meeting. That's September 2nd at 5:30. The same date, Park and Recreation Commission will have their monthly meeting at 7:30. There'll be an executive session of the board scheduled for Monday, September 7th at 7:30. Actually, it may be the 8th if that's...
It is the 8th.
Yeah, Labor Day, I'm sorry, so it will be the 8th. There will be a public meeting of the Board of Supervisors on the 2016 budget. That will be held on Wednesday, September 9th at 7:30. The Planning Commission will hold a workshop to consider changes to the zoning ordinance on Thursday, September 13th. That's the second Thursday. The regularly scheduled meeting is the third Thursday, so that will be the following week. Both of those are at 7:30. I think I'm next on tap for the Treasurer's Report. This is for the month ending July 31st, 2015. Earned income taxes of $61,161.90. Real estate taxes of $52,218.90. Transfer taxes of $39,000.57. Open space taxes, $30,210.34. Other, $140,305.17. For total revenues of $322,896.89. Expenditures, there were two bills lists approved. One was July 13th of $138,466.24. And also on July 27th, in the amount of $142,304.34 for a total of $280,770.58. There were three payrolls during the period, totaling $154,930.30. No payment on debt, although the next payment on debt is due December 1st. And the only equipment debt payable is due next year. The general fund balances as of the end of the month were $1,688,258.16. Open space tax receipts of $1,858,258.16, and liquid fuel funds of $280,528.66.
Okay, active subdivision list.
Number 3.
Oh, please report, I'm sorry, Mike.
That's good. That's okay. In July, the police department responded to 186 calls for service, including the following: the investigation of a robbery at a residence on Bartlett School Road, and the arrest of a 56-year-old male for harassment on Springwood Lane.
Okay, active subdivision list is next. We have no applications in the action this evening. So the bills list is the next. March 24th, the Township General Funds bills list is $34,236.41. The reimbursable bills list is $278,077.21. The subdivision utility plant bills list is $1,756.06 for a total bills list of $314,069.68. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any comment? Artie?
You have a Rotfeld document solution here, and Township copier, color black and white rate change, and then the base rate change.
Charge.
Charge.
Not change, charge. There's no change there, those are the charges.
So that comes in quarterly?
No. I take that back. These are what we call true-ups. There is a base amount that we pay monthly, and then every quarterly they come and tell us if we have overages in the amount of color, black and white copies that were allowed under our contract, and we then pay any overage over a certain amount.
Okay. The other thing, Stevenson equipment, it says tractor maintenance. Do we do any of the maintenance on that equipment at all, Ken?
Say that again?
Stevenson tractor equipment, it says tractor maintenance. Do we do any of the maintenance on the equipment, or is it all farmed out?
No, that was parts.
That was parts?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Ken.
Welcome. Brian, you're next.
Okay, we've got Apex Compute Corporation, we've got a computer maintenance, and we've got a line maintenance, both in Township. What's the difference between those two?
The answer to that is I'll have to find out. I'll get back to you.
Aqua, Pennsylvania, and I've seen this a number of times, we keep seeing hydrants that are done. I don't think we're buying hydrants. What are we doing with them?
Pay rent for them.
What's that again?
We pay rent for them.
Oh, we rent them, we don't own them.
That's correct.
Okay.
Hydrants are owned by the utility. The municipalities are required to pay for hydrants on a monthly basis. All municipalities that have hydrants do so.
So we've got then 27 hydrants total in Township?
No, that is only with Aqua. We have other hydrants with Pennsylvania American.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. Under Deer Country Farm and Lawn, we've got mower tractor number 1. Is this the old mower or the new mower?
The old mower.
Okay, what did it need?
Needed a pulley and a tightener and a belt and some hardware to install the same.
So we're putting that mower back in service then?
It's always been in service.
Okay. Backhoe number 2, is that the good or the bad backhoe?
That's the good backhoe.
Okay. And what was done to it?
Just minor parts.
Okay, $500.
Obviously, you don't buy parts for equipment very much.
That's very true. HD Supply Facilities Maintenance, what are Fido starter kits?
This is we have in the park and another township properties, it's a pole that has on it Fido cleanup bags. And this is the pole and the box that holds those bags. There's also a can for the waste.
So we've
And this
changed
is,
that out?
this was put up at the Weatherstone Trail.
So this is a new location, we've got these other places too?
That's correct. This was requested by people who use that trail.
Okay. Highway materials, we've got 2 bills for asphalt. What roads were worked on?
Both are on Beaver Hill Road.
Okay, is that hot mix or cold patch? Okay. Morgantown Auto Parts, $50 for windshield washer solvent?
Yeah, 5 gallons of windshield washer solvent, and they also got power steering fluid, which isn't indicated on that bill.
Okay, was that shipped to us, or do we drive out?
They deliver for free.
What's that again?
They deliver for free.
Good. reimbursable. We've got the bill that's in the guideline. And is this the road marking that Francis was complaining bitterly about last year?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is this at 401 and 100 or somewhere else?
It's at 401 and 100, but I wasn't aware that she was complaining bitterly about it.
I remember it. The baseball field, I'm happy to see that we finally got a contractor that showed up on that. What was eventually used for weed control? There was a great debate on that.
Mechanical.
Okay. And Martin paving, it says bill state fund, oil chip and various roads for $268,497.53. And it says state fund, but from the 6-month variance report, we only had $194,611.53 for the liquid fuels fund.
You're looking at the wrong thing, Brian.
Then what should I be looking at?
I just read you the treasurer's report that said there were what, 280,000. Treasurer's report, liquid fuel funds as of the end of July were $280,528.66.
Good, thank you for the correction. Now the question becomes, how much do you have less than, approximately?
$12,000.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Francis?
All right, something I don't understand, there's a charge that Brian just mentioned from Martin paving for some $268,000, but then there's the charge from Martin paving oil and ship on St. Matthews Road for $17,000. So these are two different bills?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
They're two different bills for two different things. We cannot use liquid fuel fund money. What we did is an experiment on the dirt gravel part of St. Matthews to put 4 layers of chips and 3 layers of asphalt down to see if that would help the road. We cannot use liquid fuel money to do that. So that was a separate bill that was paid out of the general fund, which is why you see it out of the general fund. The regular tar and chipping, the double coat of chips and asphalt emulsion is allowed to come out of liquid fuel funds, which is why you see it on the reimbursable bills list.
Okay, thank you.
Sharon Davis.
I rest my case around the questions.
Any other comments on the bills list? Maria?
I just want to make a note, it was 6 minutes
Good for
on the
you.
bill list.
Any other comments? Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Under correspondence, we have information on the Memorial Lions Club Flea Market and Craft Sale, September 19th. Is that on the website?
That's what I was asked you to put it on. Is that okay with you guys?
I guess so. Good job. Okay. And also the information on Chester County Day, which takes place on October 3rd. Ridge Fire Company Community Day is on September 12th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Fire Company on Route 23. And Jim, what's the information on the computer and appliance recycling?
We've been contacted by the recycling coordinator for East Vincent Township. The county this year is not recycling electronics. East Vincent has contacted a company called TBS Industries, which specializes in computer and small appliance recycling. And they are proposing to do a multi-municipal collection. I believe it would be at their property. It would be 3 to 4 hours on a Saturday morning from 9 to 12. And they're looking at either September 19th, September 26th, or October 3rd. East Vincent would like to know, and I believe they contacted us, East Coventry and North Coventry, if we would like to be part of the program. What this says is that there is no cost to the municipality. That's unusual because I know we've done this in the past with them, and there has been a minor cost, but there has been a cost to the municipality. So the question I have for the board is this something that you'd be interested in doing? Considering that Chester County is not doing any recycling for small appliances and computers this year. Is this something that you would be interested in having done at the East Vincent Township building, and have residents in our township participate in it sometime this fall?
I can say so, it's a service to our residents, doesn't cost us anything, why not?
You know, I get a lot of calls where to take recycling for electronics that I can't offer.
And the computer screens are getting, TVs are getting hard to get rid of now.
Yeah.
So yes, I'd be in favor.
Okay, we'll get back to them and let them know, and then as soon as we have more information, we will put it on our website and share it with people.
I'll send an email last time.
Thank you.
Okay, under subdivision land development, we have Toll Brothers / Eagle Farms surety reduction request, 2 different requests. Jim, what's the action that we should consider this evening for these?
These go to the engineer. These are 2 separate requests. These need to be reviewed by Carroll Engineering to determine whether or not the request is acceptable. The first request is request number 2, in the amount of $251,273.03. And the next one is request number 10 for, it looks like $156,894.32. So the motion would be to refer these to Carroll Engineering for review and recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Comment? Those in favor? Under old business, you need to consider awarding the bid for the sale of the police vehicle. So we have
Top bidder,
The top bidder for the 2009 Chevy Tahoe is John Dunkins for $6,600.
I'll make a motion that we allow him to buy for $6,600 if it's the highest bidder.
Second.
Any comment? Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Black Horse Road construction, seems to be some resident here in Black Horse Road. We have representative of our township here, engineer here in the front row, that will be able to answer some of your questions. So, if you residents have any questions, now's the time.
Yeah.
Do we come up and look at the map and tell you to ask you the questions, or how do we do this?
Did you bring a plan?
I have a full-size plan.
Okay, you want to put it out here on the table? Okay, come on up then. Barry must be thinking this is important, he stood up and focused his camera.
Anywhere, Todd?
Over here.
we're going to put a pen right there.
Okay.
Okay, we've seen this. Now, the problem is, the last time they put down the blacktop, they did not use stakes as to where the road has now moved north about 18 inches. But the last guys that did the surveying couldn't do the surveying because the road was off center.
So what's your question?
Are you gonna put some stakes in the ground to move it this way? Or south? Or are you gonna put it right over the old road bed?
What upsets me
Well,
is.
since it's being built in place, I don't know that stakes would be necessary for this, since the boundary of the road's pretty clear cut,
So-
even after the milling's done.
The road's gonna stay where it's at.
Correct.
Now, our problem is, we are on the lower end, on the south side. Now, the swell is going to have to come up almost as high as the road itself. Then as our driveway comes down, the swell is here and our driveway is coming this way. You're going to put something on both sides of the driveway. Are you using the pipe or are you going to put something on both sides of the driveway?
Would you be able to point out which is your driveway?
Right here.
Okay, so,
And
so
then-
what we have here is a piece of RCP, which is reinforced concrete pipe. And there'll be 2 flared ends, one on either side, so that we can transition the grading to this flared end section. So we'll bring it from flat up to the height of the pipe. So there'll be about a grade change of about 1.5 feet.
Now, what about the right of way?
Well, the same way over here, we have
and I don't, it's in my bag. I have the Aqua Pipeline has a right-of-way, and Pennsylvania Electric has a right-of-way. I need this to have the same type of entrance as is over here, because their trucks do go down there.
I don't think that's part of the scope of this project right now.
Well, your stakes are down there.
Is this the utility company's stakes?
No, your stake.
Your
Our
stakes,
stakes?
yes.
Which mark what?
They're
A
just,
red flag. Red
yeah.
stake.
Is that intended to stake the location of the right-of-way when Ken had the site visit with you? Do you recall?
Yes.
Okay.
It's to stake the
right-of-way.
Okay, so that was just to indicate to you how far the right-of-way goes for the roadway. I don't know that we're intending to put a separate entrance there.
No,
Well, there is a separate entrance now, and I don't want to change because I have paperwork.
Grading only
that
goes
gives
as
it-
far as your property boundary right here, so I don't think the intent is to change anything there.
The property goes down to about here.
Are you saying that they're not intending on putting a swale down there?
No. No, at this upper end, we reach just about the high point of the road here. So grading's gonna be relatively the same. If you can see from the existing topo lines, we're just about where it is in its existing condition.
You're saying this is the high point over there?
Correct, just about in this area, which is why we end our stationing right here. Just about 0, right here is more or less the high point, from what we can tell. Now we have limited
Do you agree
survey,
with
of
that?
course.
I don't agree with that at all. That's the high, that's one of the higher, it comes up as it comes down here. You're, that's not
No, go ahead.
correct.
No, explain.
Say what's on your mind. That's why
It's
we're
just
here.
not correct, you're not accurate.
You think it's further up the hill or further from
If you
Route
can see the
100?
end of the topo right here, this is as far as our survey crew went. If there is more information this way, we just don't have it at this time.
Okay, so it could be higher.
It could be. This is perceived high point from what we can tell from what topo information we have. We only went so far.
But West Vincent goes till over here. So we're gonna have a small patch, I don't know, length of this room, maybe twice the size of the old road, and then you're gonna have to tear all this up for the new part?
No, everything in West Vincent will be repaved.
Well then,
So in other words, it goes past where he's showing the end of it.
yeah, see,
Where is the guidance for whoever's going to do this work of what they're supposed to do there?
That's the end of the engineer plan that I got to look at.
And that's the end of the engineer plan that they've got to look at also.
Well, they made the engineer plan.
but see, the thing of it is, she lives over here.
Right.
This water comes down here, now this man here is having a problem with it, so he's diverting it into that much of his woods, but unless he's got an awfully educated water, it's coming through into my property. And so I no sooner solve this problem, now I've got this to work on, because you guys aren't, if you're not gonna put the swell all the way down, then, I'm sorry, but 1 and 1 doesn't make 2 when I look
The
at
profile
this.
kind of indicates what I was saying now that I looked. I mean, you can see the high points right here, and then we see a drop off again as you come this direction. So that's why the paving ends there. So just about plus 50 is where we're showing the new profile. That's at least where the profile deviates from the
No.
existing. We start adding a little bit of
The
elevation.
last engineer that was out on site, he said,
Is this Ken?
from this property here, you were gonna run a pipe underground, under the road to where it collects water and runs down into the woods.
There
Is that off the top?
I'm not aware of what
There's
was
an
discussed.
Is that where the existing pipe, that's where an existing pipe is?
Okay.
There is an existing pipe,
There's an existing
but
drain.
we're talking
There is-
about,
yeah.
they said, they told Jim that they would run the water from his side under the road to that pipe.
To that drain, not a
Well,
pipe.
that's where it goes
Drain.
now, that's where it goes now.
No, it doesn't.
No, it goes down into our woods.
Well,
It floods him out and then.
That's where,
comes-
I mean, that's where it should go.
No, that's not the way it is.
See, this is part of the problem too. No one has done a water study in this area. And you're diverting water, but yet you haven't done a water study. It makes no sense to me.
There seems to be two different opinions, whether this is, this is the beginning of the water, or if it's up here, or, and you're not addressing the water here, correct? Not until you get down further.
Correct.
But what if they're right and it's up here, and it begins up there?
I'd have to observe it in the field. I mean, I'm just going on what topo we have and what I'm looking at the
But see,
profile.
the
I don't
water
expect water
starts up
to
here.
collect at the high
It
point
comes
of a
down
road.
through her property, and it goes right over the road.
Just that what happened is the road slants toward the north, in front of our house down to 100 almost. Then, when you get past our property, the road slants south, and all the water runs down into Jim Snyder's property. Now, if you raise that end of the road, you probably save some of your problems.
I mean, just
The other thing that I
to
don't-
show you a little bit more clarification here. This 108 contour indicates just about where the swale starts. In fact, I'd probably say it's just around this fire hydrant, which is more or
Which
less
is
the
on
corner
our
of your
property,
property.
right.
So we
That's-
are providing drainage from just about this point where we tie in to the
That's-
existing contour.
That's fine, but the problem is here, on the other property. If you could solve that problem, then we would be
So that's,
fine.
the problem there is just sheet flow of water and it's not making it into.
It's coming
an
right
undertow.
over onto the man's property. He put a whole lot of rocks, stones, and dirt to divert the water over into our woods.
Dave, are you suggesting the swale be extended a little bit?
If the swell extended down beyond his place, would be fine.
And that's still West Vincent. That's why we don't understand.
That's the strange thing, is we've got a drawing, and it goes partly onto the West Vincent's thing, and then there's a distance beyond there that I would tend to say that the distance beyond the end of the drawing there is almost the same distance as what we've got there. And I think it was Ken who pointed out, it's kind of flattish past there. What's going to happen to that water? What's going to cause it to go towards Route 100? Or do we just have, with what we've got right now?
I don't know the answer to
Well,
that
see,
without more
we're
topo.
running into another problem. The Upper Euclid West Vincent comes in through here. Part of his property, the house, is in West Vincent. Part of his property is in Upper Euclid, on Black Horse Road. And that's where he's running into the problem. Because if you, to put a swell on his side, you'll have to fill in dirt.
Big time.
Yeah. And truthfully, the swales, I don't see them doing what you think they're gonna do with the amount of water that comes
Okay,
down that hill.
I think-
Upper Euclid years ago had swales down at their end of the road. They're now filled in. They've been filled in for about 8-9 years at least.
Yep.
Yeah, the idea of these swales is not intended for stormwater during regular rain events. What this is put in for is to provide some measure of drainage for the base course for the roadway. Everything that we've seen out here indicates that we have a road base that is saturated normally. And we observed this from the heaving and the cracking that we saw, and as I understand, quite a few phone calls last winter. So everything would indicate that water's kind of just sitting in this area. So what the swale would do, and by raising the roadway elevation, is to provide drainage for the base course of the roadway. So the swale would take over after the rain happened. You have saturated soils, everything's kind of wet. Now it starts to drain away your base course, your roadway, and probably keeps the road in a little bit better shape.
We understand all
Yeah.
that, but we never had problems with the heaving and cracking until the road was repaved back the last time it was repaved.
And I think the problem there is that there was a slight crown put on the road. I think it originally was intended to sheet fill across. Now there's a crown on it.
Well, the way I understand it, they're gonna raise it 6 more inches and put a crown on it.
Well, we're just keeping the existing condition, which is there is currently a crown out there.
But does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense to try to intercept as much water as we can on
Keep
the
it on
upslope
that
side,
side.
yeah, before the
Okay,
water
did-
crosses the roadway.
Okay, do you people realize what kind of dirt you're working with? What kind of soil you're working with?
We haven't done any soil investigation.
Yes. We live there, you know. That water's going nowhere, it's gonna lay there. And we're gonna have mosquitoes. Yeah, all this otherness.
Clay soil.
Oh, clay,
Clay
you better
that's
believe
all
it.
it is.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're putting the swale in. I mean, I tried to maintain 2% as best I could, which
Yeah,
is
okay.
minimal. Yeah.
I realize that, but that swale is clay.
How deep is your swell gonna be?
No more than a foot.
Okay. Because what we were looking at is on the back side toward the house and the property, come up higher than a foot to give us some leeway to hold more water back.
We are providing berm, which is, it's more or less what you have there now. It's just, the berm's just gonna be moving back, as I understand.
Oh, okay.
What you said, you'd like us to make it higher just for the big storm events.
The back side.
Back,
Yeah.
the back side toward the woods.
Do you have any idea how much higher? Or?
Well, the whole thing comes down like this. You might have to come up maybe 18 inches instead of a foot.
Something we could take a look at before we
You
You can take a look at
Yeah.
that. The reason it's the way it is now is limited right away.
Are you-
We didn't want to encroach
Are
on
you
the
loose
property.
tomorrow? Are you loose tomorrow? I mean,
Excuse me?
Are you free? Are you free in the morning or?
I am
what?
free.
All right, can you come out and we'll show you what we're talking about from one end of the road to the other, and we'll show you where the properties end.
How does the board feel?
I just want to get it done right.
We do too.
I don't think we all agree on that.
And I don't think we have a lot of confidence in your plan is what the problem is.
It's a very tight site, and it's very limited. You have very limited slope out there. We're just doing the best you can. And I think at this
Well,
point,
on the
we know we
north side-
have,
excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right.
you. But on the north side, you had mainly banks. On our side, it's sloped down.
Yeah.
If you can come out and take a look at it, we can
I
give you.
don't think that's accurate. I think we've done quite a nice job of trying to provide a berm in here as best we could with the limited right of way. It's certainly not sheet flowing straight across.
Chris, I think
there
you're
is a
talking
slope.
about existing conditions.
Existing
not
conditions.
What
Okay.
you're proposing, you're saying in the
Okay.
existing conditions, bank on one side, slope on the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Not what you're proposing.
Okay.
I think it'd be probably worthwhile to have a dialogue on site.
And the other thing, the side where you have the bank, the first three properties are pretty substantial bank, and they're not gonna be easy to maintain.
Yeah, it's about 2-to-1 slope. And, as you can see, the right of way ends just about here, so I had them to do grading. Looks like no more than 10 to 15 feet of shoulder that I have to work with.
Any other questions?
We could explore, using stormwater inlets and piping. Of course, that was kind of out of the scope because everything just gets more and more expensive. So swale was kind of the low-cost option at this point.
Okay,
So that's why we're really not doing it the right way.
Now, he's saying just down there. So where would
Just
you-
down
where would
there,
you-
yeah.
Where would you pipe it? Anyway, if you.
Well, that's the other question. Yeah, it's just very limited places to put the water to. As it stands now, it just goes out to Route 100. And we're
And
really
where's-
not deviating from that.
And it's
We're
gonna go out to
we're
Route
just
100.
moving water from the edge of pave to a few feet outside the
Okay,
shoulder.
this is, when winter comes, I don't go out this way at all because I value my life. That water comes down off this hill, and we have nothing but ice thicker than an ice rink. And anybody if you're sitting here waiting to go out, anybody comes down here, you're dead. I mean, it is that bad, and nothing's been done about it, and this isn't gonna solve it.
well, are you coming out tomorrow then? What time?
Sure, I can certainly do that.
Okay, give us a time.
We'll be home all day.
Okay.
I'll be sure to be here all day.
Okay, how about 8 o'clock?
Fine.
Yeah.
8 o'clock's fine.
Great.
AM or PM?
Don't make any difference.
PM, I can be there.
The only other thing is, you might have to take a look at the property up above hers. The guy has cleared out the trees, blasted rocks, and now if you had a swell in up there or a ditch, that would hold back more water on top of the hill instead of coming down on Jane and Nelson's property.
That's creating 90% of our problem. And nobody wants to look at it.
How much of this was
Yeah.
discussed during the site meeting you had last time with Ken?
Try telling people, but we only live there. You know?
And it's not like any of us have lived there for a short time. We've all been there. I mean, especially these guys have been there from the beginning.
30 years.
Yeah.
And it,
40 for
yeah,
you.
whatever.
And I'm close to 20 years, so.
I'm curious what we're trying to establish when I meet with you tomorrow, just so I know.
Okay. Well, we want you to see on site what you drew here, okay?
Yeah, and that it really starts down here. And again, I don't argue with my neighbors. When these people before the Nelsons, I thought it was wonderful. They cut all the trees down and then I got flooded out. So I started building berms and all that because the township wouldn't help me. And so now this guy up here is causing all this water, runs through her place, across the road, and now I'm getting the water over here. And it's like, you know,
Okay, so this is your trouble spot here. It's
Yeah.
sounding to me
Yeah,
like you
because-
don't have a problem with the swale concept and the berm.
well, I don't like it, but I solved my own problem by putting my own berm in.
And now you're gonna move it.
And now you're gonna move it. And so I'm right back 30 years back again. Now I'm old, I can't do that again.
Well, at least you know it works, right?
Well, the berm works, but,
You're gonna see him at 8 o'clock tomorrow?
yeah.
Then we'll see you.
Okay, so we're gonna discuss this area and see what we can ascertain, if we need any more topo in this area, if maybe site conditions indicate that maybe it does go up, like we're hearing from the residents. Okay.
Okay?
And can I understand one more time, who exactly is doing what in this operation?
What do you mean?
Well, there was talk, Martin, I believe you said, is who is going to be doing the milling?
Yeah, we're off their schedule now.
Okay.
They think they might be able to fit us in before cold weather, but they won't guarantee it.
Okay. But they're not doing the entire job, is what you had
No,
said,
they're doing
right?
the milling and the paving, that's what the concept was.
They are doing the paving,
Milling and the
if
paving,
they are
yes,
available.
if they're available.
Okay.
Would you like to meet with us tomorrow morning?
I will be able to.
Okay. Which is your
Unless you
property?
come out.
Just out of curiosity?
I'm here.
You're there, okay. So you can back up what they've said too, so just so I can understand when I get out there, so.
Absolutely.
Since you can't attend, so everything basically is, what, in this corner of the property?
No,
Going across
it's
this way?
across the whole property.
Across the whole
Down
property.
down this side, I get a river that comes down here when we have the fall, and if we get rain afterwards, it's an absolute river.
How much of the property above you that made the changes?
The property it's right on 100. It's like isn't it like a 5 or 6 acre property? that
Yeah.
was-
Mhm.
I know.
It used to be,
No, I know-
it used
I
to
know
be
what you mean.
Alan and she gave it to, I don't know, relative. Anyway, I have it. And my other question was, you told me, the stakes. We walked it off from the center of the road to where you put your stake. My deed, if I read it correctly, is 20 feet in easement. You've got close to 30 or better, that you're coming in. Why?
Jim pulled the subdivision plan from 1966.
Right.
Which
So it's
shows
actually 60
right
foot
easement. Yeah, and it creates a 60-foot easement.
Not on the, I went to the recorder of deeds office.
Okay. All we know is what we have in our records, which it's also recorded at the recorder of deeds too.
Well, I don't read it that way.
I think she should be able to see that then.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Can I ask a question at this point? Ken, in your original estimate for this, you added it as a $150,000 job. What changed that we've got it down to $75,000 now?
The original estimate was based on number of square footage and bidding it out and in-place bid, so then there was bonding, mobilization, and prevailing rate, and with this, we don't have that. Going this way, we don't have that.
Okay.
So the original, that was what included the drains?
No.
No.
No. Okay? Thank you, thanks for coming.
understanding how much of this is really a road issue, or is it stormwater off of other
Stormwater
things?
is road issues.
Okay, so,
Same thing.
and then, since you're off the calendar of Mark, if he was gonna do it, does this mean you might possibly need to go back for a bid to somebody else to get it on the schedule this year, or has this delay potentially put it off till next year?
I don't know, I can't answer that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right.
Question for the engineer. What is the right-of-way width up on that, on Black Horse Road? Because you had originally said that the road itself is off-center. Now, what is from the center of the road now, or what it was, and what is the right-of-way?
Jim, would you be able to talk about the plans you just recently showed me?
Yeah, the plans we have show a 60-foot right-of-way. The engineer worked off a 50-foot right-of-way. So it's well within what our records show is a 60-foot right-of-way.
The limits of the right-of-way were set with the monument that was found during the survey?
And we also found a pipe on the other side of the road.
Okay?
Thank you.
On Black Horse? We have a stormwater management agreement under new business for 4 Springwood Lane. Jim, you want to go over this?
Yeah, this is for a pool permit. This is again a simplified approach to stormwater pursuant to our zoning ordinance, and actually pursuant to our special stormwater ordinance. This pool needs a stormwater management plan, which has been provided to the township, reviewed by the engineer. You see the engineer comments, and what we're asking for the board to do is approve the agreement that we have, which is the form agreement, dated July 16th, 2015. And this is for the Aceron, A-S-E-R-O-N property on 4 Springwood Lane.
What action do we need to take?
To approve the stormwater management agreement in the normal form.
I know the engineer's review of August 11th just says we have no comments pertaining to this submission. Does that amount to an approval?
Yes.
It does. Right. Okay. I move it be approved.
Second. Any comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Need to consider authorizing advertisement of snow removal bid for the winter of 2015-16. Do I hear a motion to approve that?
Approve the bid for equipment for snow removal.
Yes, yeah, you have to advertise.
Advertising, yes, that's right. I'm good at this.
You make that as a motion, John?
Yes.
Second.
Any comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Planning module resolution for 2094 Flowing Springs Road.
This is the form resolution that's required by DEP for the submission of the planning module. The township is required to adopt this resolution. This is for 2094 Flowing Springs Road. And this again is for a 1 lot, actually it's a 2 lot subdivision, 1 existing lot being divided into 2 lots. And this is the planning module for the second lot. And this is for an individual on-lot system.
We need to make a motion to approve.
You need to, yes, to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second. Jim, what happens to it after we approve this? It goes to the county?
Well, it goes to the county and DEP.
The county's already approved it.
So the county's already approved it, so this will go then to DEP. DEP will then issue the planning module for this property. We'll do the review, and to the extent it meets their requirements, they will issue the planning module. Again, we don't have a lot to do with planning modules. The review is typically done both by the county and by the state. It's not done by us, but because of the Act 537, we need to be part of the process, and DEP requires that the board, as part of the planning module submission, provide this resolution. And what the resolution does, it adopts the planning module as part of our official sewage facilities plan. So once it's approved by DEP, this will become part of our sewage facilities plan, which is what we call our Act 537 plan, which gets amended every time by a new sewage module.
Okay, Suzanne, I think you had your hand up first.
I did. I'd like you to really explain this a little more thoroughly. This property has been developed over the last 9 months or so, and there was a lot of runoff from this property, and I now understand from the last meeting I attended that there's a subdivision plan to take the 4 acres and make it 2 properties.
That's correct.
And so, how is this going to protect us from the runoff? We had runoff.
It has nothing to do with runoff. It has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with runoff. This is a sewage facility module. This is
So
for,
this is
this
literally.
is only for the sewage for the new house. That's what this is.
So
This is for an
the septic
on-lot,
system.
this is for an on-lot system, just for the sewage for the new house. It has nothing to do with storm drains or anything else. To the extent that a subdivision is approved, it would be under our stormwater ordinance. They would be required to infiltrate, like the roof drains and everything else, so there'd be separate stormwater requirements, which are over and above this. All this is this is the sewage facilities module that says that to the extent there's sewage, which is going to be coming from the new house, it needs to go into a sewage system, which is part of our Act 537 plan, which is how sewage is dealt with in the township. It has nothing absolutely to do with stormwater, period.
And so, what has been presented to you is in the normal range of what we do with sewage in the township?
Yes, this is a normal, on-lot, individual sewage system that's being proposed.
Okay.
And
That's actually what's happening, is we're confirming to DEP that this application conforms to our sewage facilities plan.
Right.
We're
Which it
letting
does.
them know, yes, this is in conformity.
Right.
And then they start the processing.
Thank you.
Okay, Suzanne? Sarah?
Isn't it premature to approve the sewage module if you have not yet approved the subdivision?
No.
You're approving a sewage system on a lot that does not yet exist.
The answer to that is no. This is part of a process that's done. If the subdivision is not rented, then this becomes null and void. But this is the DEP process takes a considerable amount of time. And so what will happen is this runs concurrently with the subdivision process, and it's separate processing through DEP. But we do these all the time. It is a separate process that runs concurrently with the subdivision process.
Thank you. It's normally been my experience that the sewage module was signed after the subdivision.
Well, it is by DEP. I mean, typically
I'm
DEP.
sorry, I meant by the planning commission chairperson.
Yeah, there's additional documentation which occurs later, yes. But again, likely the approval of the sewage module, assuming that it is approved by DEP, will be done probably considerably later than when the subdivision is approved. Or voted upon, let me call it that. I won't presuppose approval.
Thank you.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Oh, sorry, Francis.
So this has nothing to do with the current house that's there, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yes or no, David?
Aye.
Okay. Last item on the agenda is removal of the township property and casualty insurance. Jim, you want to go through this quickly?
Yeah, quickly, we met with the township broker early in August or late July about the renewal. On the property casualty side, he went to 2 insurance companies, our current insurer and CNA. Our current insurer provided for renewal. The package went from $59,748 to $64,010. The separate part of this is workers' compensation and public law 477. Now, this workers' comp doesn't just cover the township, but also covers the fire department. There is an increase both for the public law 477 and for workers' compensation work, and it's the bulk of the increase. There's a number of reasons for this. Currently, Pennsylvania law requires cancer coverage for volunteer fire companies. So what's happened is all but one private carrier has exited the workers' compensation insurance market in Pennsylvania. This is a quote from the remaining carrier in the market. Our experience module also went up just a tick from what it was, went up from I think 0.81 to 0.85, so we still get a discount off of the standard rates, but it's with the private company. The only other option is the state pool, which is a 20% increase over what's been provided here. We also went to our another company, Paychecks, that we use for payroll and for other services. They offered to quote us on workers' compensation, and they just recently got back to Tommy and said that because of issues in Pennsylvania, they would not quote us on workers' compensation. So the total premiums are $135,389. For workers' compensation, approximately half of the, the lion's share of this amount is actually for the fire department, and half of that gets billed out to Upper Euclid and East Nantville as part of the agreement that we have. The host municipality pays the insurance, the workers' compensation insurance for the fire company, and then it gets reimbursed by the other municipalities that are covered by that fire company. So that, for example, for Kimberton, East Pikeland provides workers' compensation coverage, and we reimburse East Pikeland for our share of that coverage.
Okay. Maria?
Yeah, on the property casualty insurance, do you know what the total dollar value of the real estate is that we're insuring?
We don't insure real estate, we insure buildings and improvements. It's a little over $11 million.
What was it last year?
I'd have to look. I don't have it off the top of my head. But
We'll find out, let her know.
It did increase, yes.
But
okay,
are you
Maria?
able to, no, I'm sorry, not. On the $11 million on the increase, have you pushed back on that? Because some of the houses or the buildings may not have appreciated, or maybe.
Well, it's not so much that the buildings appreciated, it's that the replacement cost increased. We're not aware that the replacement costs for any of our buildings decreased. We carry our buildings, we insure our buildings for replacement costs. We don't insure them for their current value. As a municipality, I think it makes sense to insure everything at replacement cost. And everything I've seen indicates that replacement costs, that those inflate on a year-to-year basis, as opposed to the actual value. We do not insure on actual value.
So as an example, if the Griffin building, God forbid, burned down, we would replace that?
That's up to the board whether or not we'll replace it, but we carry insurance based upon replacement value. There are some things that are on the schedule that we limit that. And I would have to go back and look and see what we carry that building for. We may carry that for less than the replacement value.
And then on the workers' comp, you said that the mod factor went up a tick, which was like a 0.4 or something. I think
Yes,
you said.
0.04.
0.04. Did you, do we do anything with the reserves that, when an employee gets injured, a reserve is assigned to that injury for future bills that are going to come in?
By the carrier or by us? We don't.
No, by the carrier, but typically the insurer can get involved in that reserve and look to see that they're not held at outrageous amounts, which does, affect your mod rate.
Right. We typically do not get involved in that, no.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, did we make a motion to approve this?
Have you made a motion? No.
Okay, we made a motion tonight.
I move we approve.
Second.
No more comments, all those in favor? Aye. Hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.